Dobroveče i dobrodošli u emisiju o kojoj ćemo govoriti o radu specijalizovanih veća Kosova, mandatu, kampanji i ulozi. Sa nama su večeras predstavnici iz Haga i iz kosovskih specijalizovanih veća. Oni se trenutno nalaze na Kosovu, a u okviru jedne od veoma čestitih poseta sa ciljem da informišu građane o sudu. Kosovska specijalizovana veća i specijalizovano tužilaštvo su deo kosovskog pravnog sistema, ali su finansirani od strane Evropske unije i 5 država koje doprinose. Osoblje čine strani zvaničnici, a sedište suda je u Holandiji. U posljednje vreme bilo je dosta izveštaja u medijima koji su spominjali kosovska specijalistička veća i ovo je dobra prilika da čujemo o radu suda direktno od ljudi koji tamo rade. Ovde večeras imamo 4 gosta iz kosovskih veća koji će odgovarati na pitanja o ovoj instituciji. Angela Grip, šefica Odeljenja za javno informisanje i komunikaciju. Dobroveče i dobrodošli. Michael Doyle, koordinator za informisanje. Dobroveče i vama i dobrodošli. Tadeja Novinc, pravni službenik pri Kancelariji za učešće žrtava. Dobroveče i vama i dobrodošli. I Paul Landers, pravni službenik pri ombudsmanu specijalizovanih veća. Dobroveče i vama i dobrodošli. Angela, možda bi trebalo da krenemo sa onim što je osnova suda, a to je koji je tačan mandat kosovskih specijalizovanih veća?
Yes, thank you for that question. I find it very important that people know about the mandate and that they know what they can and cannot expect from the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. So the KSC has jurisdiction over crimes against humanity, war crimes and other crimes under Kosovo law at that time, committed or commenced between January 1998 and December 2000, that were committed or commenced in Kosovo, where either the victim or the perpetrator is from Kosovo or the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. And the crimes have to be related to the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly report from 2011.
Michael, vi koordinišete informativnu kampanju specijalizovanih veća. Možete li nam objasniti zašto je ova kampanja važna i u suštini čemu ona služi?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, so the outreach program, as we refer to it, is basically all about communicating directly with people in Kosovo and in the region about the mandate and the activities of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. Being relocated in the Netherlands, in The Hague, we consider it vitally important that people have a chance to hear directly from the court about what the court is, what its activities are, and that people have a chance to ask questions, express their concerns, and hear back from us directly about the court and about what it's doing. It's quite common in our meetings and events that we hold all over Kosovo that we hear different ideas and concerns and misconceptions about what the court, what the court is and what it's doing. And that's very important for us to be able to know what some of the misconceptions are, as well as what people know and ask about the court, so that we have a chance to explain it to those who will be most affected by the decisions and the proceedings once they begin.
Žrtve imaju mogućnost da učestvuju u procesima pred specijalizovanim većima, ali pod određenim uslovima. Vi ste pravni službenik pri Kancelariji za učešće žrtava, pa možete li nam objasniti sistem po kome se građani mogu prijaviti, kako da učestvuju i koji je proces kad je neko žrtva, a kad je neko oštećen?
Yes, indeed. Victims can participate in the proceedings, but before I would go into the details of the application process, I will actually start by answering the question, who is a victim before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. The law provides that the victim is every natural person who has suffered physical, mental or material harm as a direct consequence of a crime alleged in an indictment confirmed by a pretrial judge. In shorter terms, this means that the eligibility to participate is directly linked to whatever crimes are there in an indictment. In order to participate, victims will need to submit application forms. Once an indictment becomes public, the Victim Participation Office will publish application forms together with instructions on the website. And victims will then be able to apply either electronically or by ordinary post. And the Victim Participation Office will also be present in Kosovo at the time and to try to facilitate the process as much as possible. What is important to know as regards the application process is that the time frame is limited. It starts once an indictment becomes public and runs until sufficiently in advance of the opening of the trial. The rules do not define this deadline clearly, but it's to be expected that when the time comes, the judges will define an exact timeline so victims know exactly how much time they have, because after that, applications will not be accepted anymore. After that, the Victim Participation Office will assess the applications and submit them to a panel who ultimately decides who meets the criteria to be able to participate as a victim in the proceedings.
A ko po vama ispunjava te uslove i kakve su tu karakteristike što za prijavu, a što za učešće u tom procesu?
Well, it's hard to talk about criteria. I mean, that the criteria are basically defined in the definition of a victim. So it all depends what crimes will there be in an indictment. So if we take an example of a crime, for example, of enforced disappearances, in that case, of course, the person that was kidnapped and disappeared cannot apply, but close family members would be able to apply in such an instance, for example.
Vi radite u pravnoj službi ombudsmana pri specijalizovanim većima, pa možete li nam objasniti koja je uloga ombudsmana u zaštiti osnovnih prava građana pri kosovskim specijalizovanim većima?
Well, thank you first of all for the opportunity for being here and giving an overview of what the Ombudsperson's Office is. The Ombudsperson's Office is quite unique in the sense that it provides an additional layer of protection for individuals who are interacting with the court. And it's something that's quite unique within a judicial system. It's very, very important for people to understand that the Ombudsperson's Office is an independent institution. So we do not answer to either the prosecutor, the registrar, or the president of the court. And the basic principles underlying what the ombudsperson does is he monitors, protects, and defends the rights of all individuals who have an interaction with the court. So we have a number of features which allow us to provide that protection for individuals. So a number of examples I can give you. We have a complaints procedure whereby any person who feels that their fundamental rights have been violated by either the Specialist Prosecutor's Office or by the Specialist Chambers, they can make a complaint to our office. And depending on the criteria that they meet, we will examine those complaints and we will issue a report and findings in relation to that complaint. That's one element of the work of the Ombudsperson's Office. Another one is that we provide oversight to the detention facilities. We also have an opportunity to make recommendations to either the President or the Specialist Prosecutors in relation to human rights issues.
Kada je reč o zločinima, zar se bivši Haški tribunal nije bavio ovim navodnim zločinima i kako je mandat kosovskih specijalizovanih veća različit od mandata bivšeg Haškog tribunala?
I think we can say that the main difference that is relevant here is the time frame. So the temporary jurisdiction, the ICTY's jurisdiction ended with the war in 1999, while the temporary jurisdiction of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers extends until the end of 2000, so includes a period after the war in Kosovo.
A postoji li tu neka veza između bivšeg Haškog tribunala i specijalizovanih kosovskih veća ili tu postoji neka razlika?
It's completely different institutions.
Koje su to pitanja i brige koje najviše čujete od građana i šta je to što možete da podvedete pod najčešće neke žalbe ili pitanja?
Yes, thank you. Indeed. As we travel around Kosovo each month and hold meetings and events with people to provide accurate information about the court and hear from them, there are several, I would say, misconceptions which come up repeatedly. For example, something we very often hear is the idea that the Kosovo Specialist Chambers has somehow been established to put on trial a particular organization or a community or a particular group of people. That's absolutely not the case. We are a court, and like any other court, we're in the business of conducting proceedings when someone is charged as an individual with committing a crime within the jurisdiction of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. So what that means in practical terms is that anyone who has committed a war crime or a crime against humanity between 1998 and 2000, falling under the jurisdiction of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, can be held to account for that crime as an individual. That includes, of course, perpetrators of the crimes directly, someone who ordered or planned a crime, or indeed superiors who failed to prevent or punish crimes that were committed by their subordinates. Another misconception we also hear quite frequently has to do with the independence of the court and the belief that the court is somehow under the direction of an organization or a government or a group of governments. This is absolutely not the case. I think it's significant to say, as was mentioned earlier, that the Kosovo Specialist Chambers is funded by the European Union and a number of other countries. However, in the exercise of its judicial mandate to hold fair, objective, and independent proceedings, the judges and everyone else acts absolutely independently. So no outside person or government or institution instructs the court in any way in how it should conduct its mandate.
Tadeja, možete li nam objasniti sistem po kome građani mogu prijaviti da učestvuju u procesu ili kao žrtve ili kao oštećeni? Koji je to sistem i kako to ide korak po korak u prijavljivanju?
Well, I already started with explaining that victims will need to submit application forms. So, as already mentioned, a panel will then issue a reasoned decision on admissibility and on grouping. And after that decision is issued, a victims' counsel will be assigned to a group of victims. The counsel is paid by the court. What is also important to mention is that the system before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers does not allow for individual participation. Victims will be grouped either in one or more groups. That will be depending on various circumstances like the number of applications, geographical location, or language, for example. Victims then exercise their rights through the counsel. So the victim counsel can be present at hearings, keeps victims informed on the developments in the proceedings, can make opening and closing statements at trial, as well as under certain conditions the counsel may submit written and oral submissions, tender evidence, as well as question witnesses. All these modalities of participation reflect the rights as they are defined in the law, the rights of victims, which are notification, acknowledgement, and reparations. So overall, it can be said that the system of participation before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers does allow for victims to participate meaningfully and actively in the proceedings.
A evo i moram i da vas pitam još i ovo, znaju li žrtve svoja prava kada dođu da prijave i oštećeni isto tako?
This is also now a part, that's why we are also involved in the outreach program. We are involved in discussions explaining on round tables, on events, how the system is, what needs to be done. But in addition to that, we are also, the Victims Participation Office is also meeting with associations of missing and killed here in Kosovo. So different, how to say, potential victims, I'll call them potential because of the restrictions when it comes to applying, so that people are informed way in advance of their rights and of how the system of application and participation is.
Gospodine Landers, možete li nam malo bliže objasniti ko je ombudsman i znaju li ljudi uopšte vašu funkciju i to šta on predstavlja i šta znači?
The ombudsperson was appointed in May of 2018, and his name is Pietro Spera. He is an Italian judge, and he works remotely. So in essence, he conducts his normal day-to-day judicial work in Italy, and he travels to the seat of the court in The Hague if and when he is required. And the day-to-day running of the Ombudsperson's office falls to myself. Judge Spera has wide experience in human rights protection. He has represented the Italian government in various different missions throughout the world, and also has worked for a time as an international war crimes judge. So he brings a wealth of experience to the position. So really the message that I would like to get out to people today is that the Ombudsperson's Office of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers is confined to dealing with complaints that, first of all, are an allegation of a human rights violation by the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. And secondly, that the person making the complaint must demonstrate to our office that they have had an interaction with the Kosovo Specialist Chambers or the Kosovo Specialist Prosecutor's Office. And that's a really important message for us to get out there.
Angela, osnovni mandat veća je da obezbedi fer i nezavisno suđenje. Kako to planirate da uradite i na koji način?
Thank you for this question. Maybe I give two examples. I would start with the judges who are completely independent and do not take any instructions from anybody. They are not appointed by their countries. They go through a rigorous recruitment process conducted by a panel of experts. They sign a solemn declaration on their impartiality and independence, and they are bound by a code of judicial ethics. On the other hand, it's also worth mentioning the rights of the accused in a fair and impartial trial. Before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, the accused have the right to a defense counsel from the list of counsel. And in order to make that possible, the Defense Office is managing a legal aid scheme so that anybody who doesn't have the means to pay for the defense counsel can apply for legal aid. However, the Defense Office will conduct a very thorough investigation into the means of any applicant to make absolutely sure that only those people who really do not have the means and cannot pay for their defense counsel will be granted legal aid.
Mandat je veoma ograničen. Šta sa žrtvama koje još uvek čekaju pravdu?
Yes, the mandate is limited as we described. It's not unusual for an international temporary judicial institution dealing with war crimes and crimes against humanity. We cannot change our mandate or our limitations, but what we can do is inform people accurately about what the court can and cannot do so that people can have realistic expectations.
Mnogo ljudi je ovde zabrinuto, gospodine Doyle, za proces zaštite svedoka. Šta sud u tom slučaju radi i koje su neke mogućnosti koje vi imate u tom slučaju?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, during our outreach events and the meetings that we have with people around the country, concerns about witness protection are something that we hear quite frequently. From the very beginning, the Kosovo Specialist Chambers has taken the issue of witness protection and support as the highest priority. And while I can't speak about operational measures for obvious security reasons having to do with the protection of witnesses, I can say that in the context of judicial proceedings, in the context of trials, judges will have at their disposal a number of measures that they can institute in order to protect witnesses, such as the use of pseudonyms during a trial, voice or face distortion during testimony, testifying through a video link, and so on. I think it's also important to stress that within the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, there is a dedicated unit just for witness protection and support. And of course, a major component of that is witness protection, but it's also very important to talk about support. Having in mind the sensitive nature and the serious nature of the crimes within the jurisdiction of the court, there may be vulnerable witnesses, and there are professionals at the court who have extensive experience in dealing with witnesses and with victims, who will be there to assess and to make sure that witnesses have all of the psychological, emotional, and other support that they need. I think, finally, when we talk about witness protection, it's incredibly important to stress that the court has the authority to prosecute people for example, revealing the identity of protected witnesses, seeking to influence witnesses, or in any way violating protective measures that have been decided upon by a judge. And so under the Kosovo law, as applied before the court, these types of offenses are very serious crimes which are punishable with severe sentences. And the Kosovo Specialist Chambers is absolutely authorized to prosecute people for violating protective measures for witnesses.
Gospodine Landers, da objasnimo postupak kako građani mogu uputiti žalbu ombudsmanu i na koji način se mogu javiti vama i vašoj kancelariji.
Okay, this is a really important one for us to get this message out to people. We have tried to make the complaints procedure as simple as possible. And so therefore we have two methods of people applying for complaints to our office. Firstly, we have a very simplified process online on the Kosovo Specialist Chambers website. Basically what we require from any individual is just their name and a contact. And they provide that to us, and we will then contact them to bring them through the procedure. And of course the second method that people have is just through the ordinary postal system. If they wish to send a complaint to us via the postal system, then they can do so, and that address is provided.
Angela, čuli smo da su kosovska specijalizovana veća nedavno prešla u novu zgradu, pa možete li nam reći koja je važnost ovog preseljenja i koliko je to vama važno?
Yes, we moved to a new building with a new courtroom in June, and this courtroom has the facilities to stream public proceedings once they have started in the three languages of the court, in Serbian, Albanian and English, so that also people in the region, in Kosovo or the region, can follow the proceedings basically from their computer via our website. We are currently working on the media center having the same facilities so that also journalists can participate in press conferences from abroad, so that it's easier for people in the region to participate.
Za sve koji bi htjeli da saznaju više o mandatu i procesima kosovskih specijalizovanih veća i specijalizovanog tužilaštva, preporučujemo da posete web stranu www.ccp-ks.org, gdje ćete naći sveobuhvatne informacije i dokumentaciju na 3 jezika, srpskom, albanskom i engleskom. U ulozi moderatora večeras Neda Jovanović. Prijatno večer.